I really don't want to talk about this because if I don't talk about it, I'm seen as protecting a predator. If I do, I'm seen as being messy. So to be honest, I'm going to be as vague as possible. But another reason I didn't like this person is because there were some stories going around and some things I saw where they behaved weird towards women. Okay?
Hello, my hungries. It's my Threescoopes, and welcome back to my Talkie VTubing Space. As the end of the year officially approaches us, I can't really say I'm too surprised by how much of Nijisanji's, or should I say Kurasanji's, leftover reputation continues to decline. Ever since what happened with Miss Stoltenberg from 10 months ago, their company's reputation continues to go down the drain. At this point, you thought it just couldn't get any worse, right?
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie, but a lot of you think I have a dad because... And this is something that made me a little mad. I was on a heist. I was like, can I make a video of introducing my family? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, I don't have a dad, so I'm gonna leave my dad out. And they were like, why don't you just pretend you have a dad? And I was like...
It couldn't get any worse from there, right? What am I saying? Of course it will. Aster Arcadia. You know, instead of going on the usual rant about how everything he was exposed for recently is terrible, it goes without saying, this is my very first time ever hearing of a VTuber company talent going out of their way, despite making it into a VTuber company where they are guaranteed a head start in their career, where they are guaranteed to make it. Let's just be brutally honest about that. They go out of their way to risk it and throw it all away just to harass women. Like, instead of just focusing on your VTuber career, you have to go bother and pester and harass your fellow VTubers. Like, why are you even there then? What was the point of making the audition? What's the point? Like, seriously, what was the point? Since then, all of the streaming activities of Aster has been put to hold, and this apparently popped up in the virtual YouTuber subreddit 9 days ago. Nijisanji has announced an independent third-party investigation into the recent controversy. Thank you for your continued support of regarding the recent controversy. Any color has determined the following course of action. We have initiated an independent third-party investigation into these issues and will share the outcome with our livers and our community. This investigation will focus on the issues of sexual harassment and unauthorized information leakage to outside parties, and will include a thorough review of company policies and their implementation. A hefty punishment? Sure, but I hope, and they better not. Why would you fire the whistleblower for sexual harassment of all things? But then again, it is Nijisanji, so we shouldn't be expecting too much grace from them. I will definitely like to have some more in-depth information about this, so I know just the perfect channel to look that information up on. One of my favorites again.
Well guys, I say it every time. At this point, it's a catchphrase, but Nijisanji, otherwise known as Any Color, their parent company, is truly the gift that keeps on giving. The downfall of this company ever since the beginning of this year has been unprecedented. It's hard to believe that back in June 2022, Any Color used to be worth $1.2 billion. Yes, you heard that right. Billion, 1.2 billion. And yes, we're talking about a VTuber corporation. It's crazy. But the
keywords, used to. Used to.
The company has since then lost more than half of their entire value. And what's even worse for investors is that there is zero hope for recovery. The downfall of Nijisanji started in the beginning of 2024, back around February, when it turned out that one of their beloved talents tried to evaporate her soul out of her body, if you get what I mean. Mainly due to the very toxic work culture at Nijisanji. This was a very big shock because prior to this, Nijisanji was seen as one of the top VTubing agencies on the planet. No one saw this coming. It didn't take long for us to see how toxic they were internally though, because instead of apologizing,
No way! A company being toxic from the inside. I honestly wasn't too surprised considering. You know, I'll be brutally honest. Every company will have their dark secrets. It's only a matter if they'll ever get exposed. And oh boy, was this one seriously exposed 10 months back.
Nijisanji put up some of their top VTubers to do a black screen stream, pretty much blaming the VTuber who almost lost their life and getting massive hate for it. This truly
Rightfully
is the
so.
beginning of the end for Nijisanji, and they have screwed up so many times throughout this year that I had to create a playlist full of videos of them doing dumb shit. But even with all that, we've never truly reached a point like the one we found ourselves in today. A VTuber currently working for Nijisanji decided to reach out to Fallside in order to leak the fact that there's currently a predator within Nijisanji's ranks and that they are covering for him. There are many victims here, both inside and outside of Nijisanji.
The whistleblower, in other words. Without a doubt, it's much better if the whistleblower's identity stays a secret, but I salute to them. My goodness. What they did definitely took guts.
And the stakes have never been higher. We need to talk about this, so let's do it. Nijisanji will introduce new VTubers in waves, and Aster was part of the iLuna wave alongside 5 other VTubers. They debuted in summer 2022. Back in February of 2024, as the disaster surrounding Selen was happening, Raziel Warmonic, who used to be a moderator of Luca Kaneshiro, a massive Nijisanji English VTuber, put out a tweet saying not to add fuel to the fire, but since I was close to a member of Nijisanji for a long time, I am absolutely not surprised it's starting to crumble. I was vented to about a male member from iLuna, sorry I can't remember which, this was a voice convo from over a year ago, that was harassing and guilt-tripping new girls to the point that other members would go quiet or exclude them from their voice chats. Yet management apparently did nothing and the members themselves had to self-regulate.
Jeez.
She then added, I just got confirmation from another individual, it was Aster. I will not name who told me this, no more witch hunts. There were 3 male members in iLuna, and she had confirmed that she was talking specifically about Aster. Nijisanji was already under a lot of fire. This was definitely fuel to the fire.
Can I just pause this for a moment to say something else? From my own personal experience working in companies, as soon as other coworkers of yours start making you feel uncomfortable, whether it's discrimination or inappropriate talk of any sort, they'll receive a warning, depending on who your management is. And after the second or third time, they are immediately terminated. Why can it not just be that simple? Maybe in their eyes, it's a lot more difficult to just fire someone and then find a new talent right away and go through the auditions and so on and so forth. But still, come on. Is losing some time and money really more precious compared to kicking out a sexual harasser from harassing your talent? Company priorities. What do you think, my hungries?
A day later on 4chan, DMs between Aster and Scarle leaked. Scarle is another well-known VTuber also part of the iLuna wave, debuting with Aster. This conversation was painful and awkward to read. Aster was bickering about voice chat etiquette, and Scarle did not know how to respond except for saying sorry repeatedly. Saying, Aster, I'm sorry, I'm just overwhelmed by everything, I'm sorry I hurt you, I'm sorry I forget everything, I'm just overwhelmed by the messages. I don't know what to say to you, that's why I didn't respond right away, I'm not ignoring you, I just don't know what to say, I'm sorry. There was also another conversation in which she says, I'm sorry Aster, I keep making you feel this way, with him replying, I mean, is that it? Like, what else do you want, man? She's apologizing.
Exactly, what the heck? I personally understand what it's like to get talked over a lot and then ignored for a majority of the conversation. It's pretty lousy. I remember a few times where I was doing some group collabs, but I only knew one person. And I was mostly talked over a lot for a majority of the stream. It's a pretty lousy feeling, I get it. If you want to talk about it with your friends, of course you're more than free to share your feelings, and then hopefully it doesn't happen again in the future. You apologize, you move on from it, and try again if you want to. It's that simple. But why are they pushing it so much? Saying, is that it? But I think we all know why.
And then within the span of 30 minutes, he kept pushing over and over and over, not getting a reply, and saying, seriously, so you're purposefully ignoring me? It was clear that this DM leak was trying to make him look bad, right? Because all Scarle was doing was apologize, and he wasn't letting it go. It was certainly matching the description that Raziel had provided about Aster, guilt-tripping new girls and even harassing them. Knowing that this was 4chan though, many people were concerned that these were just fake. I mean, who's gonna leak this? Scarle?
True.
That would be an easy way for her to get fired. And Aster? Why would he make himself look bad? But then, something weird happened. On the same day those 4chan messages leaked, both Aster and Scarle posted matching hearts at the same exact timestamp. Right after this, they proceeded to stream together, completely unprompted, right? Typically, they post weekly schedules telling their viewers what they're going to do on their channels. This was not announced. This had happened all of a sudden on the same day. This made some people suspicious. Like, why would you go this far to do all these things right after the messages leaked on 4chan? Are you trying to hide something? Did Nijisanji put you up to this to try and hide the fact that you guys have a terrible relationship? It smelled fishy, but there was not enough proof to really conclude anything, so people moved on. That was, of course, until April 2024, when Raziel, who was Luca Kaneshiro's ex-mod, posted a 58-page document detailing her experience with him and how he was entitled, exploitative, and abusive towards her, as well as other members within Nijisanji. This is where, on page 55, she would include this bombshell under allegations. Here's what she had to say. Aster Arcadia harassing other coworkers. I can confirm that Luca Kaneshiro said that multiple girls were coming to him about the issue since management wouldn't do anything, and he discussed it with both Illyra and I. Illyra being Illyra Pandora, another Nijisanji English VTuber. She then continues. I personally told him to gather as much evidence as possible and bring it to management since it shouldn't be Luca's and Illyra's job, to regulate this issue. To my understanding, nothing was done about it.
That's some really bad management. Like I said, that's not how it should be. Just like pretending to be your talent while said talent is actually recovering in the hospital while trying to make it sound like they're okay is just as bad, if not worse.
She also showed a message that was sent to her by a Nijisanji English VTuber saying, to help you with clarity, I remember that incident, it was Aster. This was back during February 7th, when Raziel had tweeted about the fact that someone from Iluna was harassing and guilt-tripping new girls. When she said, I just got confirmation from another individual that it was Aster, she was referring to that VTuber who had DM'd her on Twitter. This, of course, was a very serious accusation, but people were mostly focused on Luca Kaneshiro being a weirdo in these 58 pages rather than pursuing this, because other than this random Twitter DM, we didn't really have concrete proof. And besides, people were more interested with how Luca beat his meat in VR chat without Raziel's consent. That anyway, I mean, changed
Whoa, that was completely left field. What?
24. That was the day that Fallside had published this video titled Exclusive. Nijisanji English VTuber speaks out against Nijisanji English Liver. He had done something unprecedented. A Nijisanji VTuber had reached out to him from within the company to tell him that yes, Aster Arcadia is a serial harasser. This was the same Nijisanji English VTuber who had messaged Raziel and told her, I remember that incident, it was Aster. Also sharing some never-before-seen DMs she had sent Raziel, like, a lot of people waited for you to tell the truth for a while because it had been an issue, so I'm happy you finally did. Do not worry about those that are sending hate. This truth in the long run helps so many people. He then shared messages of that Nijisanji English VTuber venting back in September about Aster's behavior, saying, when I had a mental breakdown and went to Twitch, it was because Aster was saying like he wants to fly me out to Japan, saying weird sexual shit, sex pesting my friends. I went to management, they wouldn't even speak to him. I was really considering graduating. They were really considering leaving the company over this, but their manager talked them out of it. They then said, because it feels gross to me, like I feel like I'm hiding his behavior because it's not just me, it's many girls, a lot of my friends. Also adding that Nijisanji was too scared to take any action because they didn't want more bad PR after everything that had happened this year.
Yeah, about that? In my opinion, instead of being afraid of being judged for someone else's disgusting behavior, how about I think it would have been a much more better decision for everybody, including your precious company, if you had decided to just let the weirdo go and prevent any more unwanted sexual harassment. Don't you think that would have made the company look a little bit more better in the public's eye? No, too afraid of the backlash that would have went your way because of bad PR? No, I think some good PR would have been more outstanding. I'm just saying.
The name of this Nijisanji VTuber who is a victim of Aster Arcadia wasn't revealed in this video. Now obviously there were people doubting this source of information, saying why would you want to censor the name? Revealing it would add so much more weight to these accusations. But in order to understand that, we have to, yet again, go back to 4chan. A little while ago, a bunch of different messages leaked on 4chan between that one Nijisanji English VTuber who had reached out to Fallside and a handful of their friends. Some of these messages were from that VTuber stream chat, but the majority were from Discord DMs. There were some morbid revelations, like how this VTuber was straight up in debt because Nijisanji had withdrawn all the VTuber model costs and the equipment costs from their salary. So after a long time being there, they still have not gotten a proper salary, barely affording to eat. Truly an incredible company to work at.
Oh
But
my
what
goodness.
these logs allow us to do is to cross-reference the messages shown in Fallside's video to the messages here. For example, if we take the message "he wants to fly me out to Japan," we find it right here following the same timestamp that was shown in the Discord logs in Fallside's video. I have no idea who leaked this, but these logs paint a very dark picture about the worries this VTuber had of even revealing this information to the public. Look, the topic of Aster came up multiple times in these conversations, and at some point, one of the friends of this Nijisanji English VTuber wanted them to expose the harassment that they had endured from Aster to the public. They expressed shock when the VTuber was reluctant, saying, "I thought they don't fucking fire people? Like I was under the impression it literally can't happen." With the Nijisanji VTuber then saying, "If you do something bad enough." The friend said, "But you are unironically a victim. Fuck them, you did nothing wrong at all. Why are we even scared? They treat you like shit. Some creep harasses you. You get fired? Make that make sense." With the VTuber saying, "That's why it's 50-50. They either ignore it or fire me." So this Nijisanji English VTuber actually loves being a VTuber and they don't want to get fired. They had to quit their IRL job for this and they don't have anything else they can do at the moment. If Fallside had irresponsibly leaked their name, their identity, then Nijisanji would have terminated them, well, immediately, and Aster would have gotten away with it anyway. It's counterproductive, and this is why I won't leak it either. So look, even with the VTuber wanting to keep their job, the friends of the VTuber were seeing this injustice unfold and they couldn't just not do anything about it. They wanted the Nijisanji VTuber, their friend, to get their justice. This is why they reached out to Fallside. Here we can see a conversation with one of the VTuber's friends and Fallside. This was Fallside's first contact with this group of people. They agreed on a time to call and then went ahead and did it. During the call, the VTuber's friend showed him all the screenshots of the past logs we just saw, of them talking about Aster and the harassment they had to endure for a very long time. The call lasted 1 hour. On November 11th, the Nijisanji English VTuber who was harassed by Aster had reached out to Fallside and added them on Discord, saying, "Hey, thanks for accepting my request. Blank told me he sent you some things and I was wondering if you'd be able to have a call with me." This is referring to the friend of the VTuber that Fallside had called for an hour. And Fallside replied with, "Sure. Not a problem. What time works for you?" This was when the VTuber would reveal to Fallside that Aster had done this not to just them, but to their friends, to multiple people. The VTuber initially thought that maybe he was just bad at communicating, but seeing the fact that he was doing it to so many people at the same time made them understand, okay, no, this guy's actually a creep, and he would very...
Yeah, and once again, like I said earlier, he's throwing it all away just to be a creep to women. Why? Why are you even here? So you can gain access to company VTubers, maybe? Yeah.
His creepiness level from person to person. With some people, he would tell them, "Oh man, you should really come to Japan. We could hold hands, sit in the same hotel room, have a great time." And to some others, he would be more inappropriate, mentioning things like how they should be naked together. Additionally, this VTuber felt really guilty because they had brought one of their IRL friends from outside of Nijisanji to come and play games with them, plus some other friends, and Aster. After a certain period of time, that friend would then also receive inappropriate messages from Aster. The guy was a fiend. The VTuber also had shared DMs with Aster. They had streamed League of Legends together, and Aster really didn't like the banter that the VTuber had towards his jungling skills. The reason why this is significant is that due to the style of writing of this message,
it's getting worse and worse and worse.
These messages between Aster and Scarle. This is simply how he talked. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to slowly come together at this point. Aster was manipulative and he had many different victims to practice his manipulation tactics on. The information provided was already enough to shock the VTubing community to its core. But as you might have guessed, things only got worse from here and escalated further.
How much
Aster
worse
had
could it
debuted
get?
Alongside two other male VTubers in the iLuna wave. One of those VTubers was Kyo. The thing with Kyo was that he had graduated around the time the Selen controversy was going on. He was done with the company and left in February of 2024 after his final stream. In March, he went independent and became Quinn Bennett, and has been streaming ever since.
Oh yeah,
However,
I've seen that
shortly
face around.
after debuting at Nijisanji,
That
he
was
had created
him.
a podcast series with
Ah,
Aster and another
didn't know
VTuber by
that.
the name of Ren. The series was short-lived, ending after 2 episodes. But people didn't really think much of it, assuming they were just busy and moved on.
Oh, I wonder
However,
why.
That all changed recently. Because
Uh-huh.
very shortly after
Here it
Fallside's
comes, here it
video,
comes,
Quinn
here it
tweeted
comes.
This, saying, "All I'm saying is there's a reason the podcast only lasted 2 episodes." To many, this was a subtweet directed towards Aster. He was blaming Aster for the fact that the podcast ended so quickly. This was a lot of fuel added to the fire. Quinn
Oh yeah.
then proceeded to add even more fuel by deleting the tweet, making people want to talk about it even more, thinking that he may have gotten in trouble with Nijisanji over this tweet. But then he made another tweet saying this, "Never mind. I feel it's irresponsible to be vague given the circumstances, and to be honest, I want to stay in my own lane. Even if I personally dislike someone, that doesn't give or remove credibility from a third-party story. My opinion wasn't meant to invalidate or validate someone else's experience, which is why I deleted the post. Hope that clears everything up." But by then, the damage was already done. Quinn knew he could just move on from it, so he tweeted out, clearing things up, linking a Twitch stream. The stream was around 27 minutes long, and it was him talking about the situation at length. What he had to say did not in any way make Aster look good. Watch.
To hide this aspect of the puzzle piece. The reason I didn't like this person is because there were some stories going around and some things I saw where they behaved weird towards women. Kind of like they would like ask certain women about certain things or kind of put them in positions to feel guilty. Like they were not the most healthy when they interacted with women. And I'm going to be honest about that. I'm not going to cover it up.
This was interesting because the wording he was using here, guilt tripping, for example, was the exact same wording that was used by Raziel when she spoke about Aster. This was lining up, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think I've watched enough of this. Oh yeah, it all adds up. How much more proof do you need than multiple people coming forward and this person is coming back by next year? Oh boy. Well, what can I say, my hungries? This is where I'm ending the video. Let me know what your own thoughts are in the comment section down below. Feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I have listened to enough tonight. This is my Threescoopes, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Oh boy, stay safe out there, my hungries. Bye-bye!